We have been talking about what a ratio is. We talked about part to part to whole. Today what we're going to look at is proportional situations and how you can tell if proportions are equivalent. So first of all, you need to know that a proportion is two equivalent ratios. All right, so for example, 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4. There are lots of ways for us to decide if two ratios are equivalent, making a proportion. One way is you can do butterfly, right? So if you multiply the diagonal numbers, if we get the same value, then yes, this is proportional. Yes, this is equal. Now, if for some reason they are not equal, so for example, if I said 1/2 is 2/5, well, I can see that this is 4 and this is 5, then these are not proportional. Okay, so that is the main way that you can decide if something is proportional. Another way is for you to go through and see if there is what we call a scale factor. So that number that you multiply the top and the bottom by to see if they are equal. So for example, if I go back to 1/2 is equal to 2/4. Some of you might look at this and go, oh, well, I know that 2 times 2 is 4 and 1 times 2 is 2. So then yes, this would be proportional again. Whereas if we had 1/2 and that 2/5, well, 1 times 2 is 2, but 2 times 2 is not 5. So then no, this is not proportional. We can also go ahead and convert these. We know that 1/2 is 0.5 and we know that 2/4 is 0.5. So again, they simplify to be the same thing versus 1/2 is 0.5 and 2/5 is 0.4. So these are not equal. The equal with the line meaning not equal. So I'm going to help you see that in a couple of situations here. It says Jade bought 3 hamburgers and 2 hot dogs. I'm going to write that as a ratio. And remember, I'm going to say 3 burgers and 2 dogs. Remember, we talked about labeling our ratios. So this is Jade. And then it says Richard, he bought, we use a different color, 9 hamburgers and 6 hot dogs. So I'm going to say Richard. And we have, I'm going to put 9 burgers on top because burgers are what I had on the top, and 6 dogs. So let's decide if this is proportional or not. Well, let's look at these different things we talked about. We can look for a scale factor, which again is that number we would multiply. We can say 3 times 3 is 9. So is 2 times 3 6? So yes it is. So that means that yes, this is proportional. You could also have said, let me choose another color here so you can see what I'm doing. 2 times 9 is 18, and 3 times 6 is 18. So let's look at another example here. Let's look at Christy and Nancy. They have equal sets of pots and pans. Christy has 12 pots and 8 pans. So I'm going to say C for Christy. 12, I'm going to use T for pots because they both start with a P. 8, I'm going to use N for pans. Nancy has 10 pots and 6 pans. So 10 pots and 6 pans. So this is a situation where we could simplify both of these ratios and see if they come out to be the same because there's not really a nice number. I know that 4 goes into 12 and 8. So 4 goes into 12 3 times. 4 goes into 8 twice. I know 10 and 6 is divisible by 2, 5/3. Well, I know that 3 over 2 is not the same as 5 over 3, so I know this is not proportional. We can also do our cross multiplying. 80, 6 times 12 is 72. So no, these are not proportional. I would like you to try number 3 so we can look at it in class tomorrow. On the back, we have now, not only is it proportional, it tells us that, but they want us to find a missing number here. So what I'm going to look at is still setting up my ratio. The ratio of ticks to fleas on Laura's dog, Ripley, is 20 to 60. And remember when we talked about ratios, we said the order matters. So ticks is first, so that's my numerator. Fleas is second. That's my denominator. How many fleas? So fleas is what we're asking about, and we have 40 ticks. Well, ticks we put on top, so that 40 needs to be in the numerator, and here we're missing a number. So there's a couple things we can do. We can look for that scale factor piece. How do we go from 20 to 40? Well, that's times 2. And if I times 2 on the top, I can times 2 on the bottom to get 120 fleas. We can also, for those of you that learned about butterfly, we can say, okay, 60 times 40 needs to be equal to 20 times something. Well, I know that 60 times 40 is 240 is equal to 20 times something. I need to ask myself, what times 20 is 240? Well, how could I figure that out? Well, we could divide. I'm going to take off my zeros here. 240, I took that 0 off. So 2 goes into 2 once. 2, oh, just kidding, 0. 4 is going to be 2. And then we have our 0 that we took off. We're going to put it back. So 120 fleas. I'm going to do one more pair with you, and then I'm going to let you do number 6 tonight. So this says 5 pairs of smelly gym socks and 8 pairs of gym shoes. So I have socks and I have shoes. That's what I'm comparing. So I have 5 and I have 8. How many smelly socks for 24 pairs of shoes? Well, shoes is going to go on the bottom, and I'm looking for socks. So again, I'm going to use that scale factor trick because that's the easiest way. 8 times 3 is 24. 5 times 3 is 15 socks. I would like you to try number 6, and tomorrow when you come into class, we're going to look at 6 and 3.